Hi, my name is Chris. I'm the Grandpa Caveman, and this is the, I guess, pretty much winter garden update. And of course, we have the famous cat. If you look back in one of the other garden videos, this cat was everywhere. Well, it still is. Go.
This particular bed is going to be squash of various kinds: butternut, yellow, acorn, spaghetti, and we're going to raise it up another 8 inches like that bed there. And I just finished putting a fresh coat of topsoil on top. That takes this took about 30 bags of topsoil to top it off, and then we're going to put manure on top of it as a ground cover. From what I've heard, that seems to be the best thing, because as winter goes on, the rains come, the manure tends to melt down into the ground. So then after the manure cover is over, as spring comes along, we'll put in a Miracle Grow mix of topsoil. That's a little heavy in the nitrogen side, but I think that'll be all right. I don't want to over pollute it with 12-12-12 or any of the rest of those commercial fertilizers, because this garden was polluted by too much phosphorus, and nothing will grow in it satisfactorily. Thus, we have to put the raised beds in here for one reason, in order to get above that. Nitrogen goes away, potash goes away, but phosphorus stays forever. And phosphorus will, after time, retard your growth. So anyway, these are set up now with no phosphorus. We'll mix the phosphorus as we go, small amounts, which is necessary for root growth, and make sure that it has some microbes in there. And we're going to put some red, there's some in there already, but some more red worms, droppings, and then assist it with further introduction of microbes to break down the wood chips and whatever else went into making this particular product. So that's this. In case we want to extend the season, or we need another greenhouse in a hurry, this hoop will take care of that. But primarily the hoop will be used for any of the climbing squash. As you can see, I've got one. I forgot to take one of the ropes down that I used to train them to climb this. This was butternuts, and they took over the top of it, and they did well. So did this. So did the spaghetti squash, which is another climber. And acorns are sort of semi-climbers. They don't really climb too much. But another layer of 8s will cause the plant, if I plant them close by, will cause the plant to naturally come to this and grow on it, so I don't have to tie them all up. Yeah, it sounds a little strange. I got a trained climbing squash to climb, but nevertheless, I want them to go in the right direction. You do not want butternut squash to lay on the ground too much. That's open prey for slugs and other ground-bearing insects that likes to eat the hide. Eventually it eats the hide open, and you have a rotten fruit, or vegetable. So as a result, we're keeping ahead of that by a hoop and making sure this has the proper amount of nutrition in it. Now, as far as these beds are concerned, as you can see, I'm getting a tad bit on the older side. So as a result, I can't get down on my hands and knees, especially when you go about breaking a hip just for the hell of it. This will too have manure put in it as a topsoil. This will be beans. The beans will be up. I can get to them. I don't have to bend down to pull the weeds and so forth and so on. Yeah, I've got a little cart that I can sit on. However, when you lean forward in the thing, it makes it a little uncomfortable after a while sitting on it. So this solves that problem too. As you can see over here, The propagating, this is strictly next year's beginning crop for pollinating bugs. I need my pollinators. We just simply don't have enough pollinators, and pollinators tend to be born or bred, whatever, and they never leave much more than 100 feet from where they were actually laid as eggs or seeds. So as a result, eggs, yeah, eggs. So I'm trying to encourage as many pollinators to come to this, and I've got mason houses around and so forth to encourage that. This is peas. This has already been inoculated for next year, and I see that I have a pea coming up from last year, right there. This has chicken manure over it. I'll get in here and weed it again, but it'll probably keep the weeds down for the most part because of the manure. This is sweet potatoes. I put this up, and it was kind of ridiculous that I did, because they don't climb. The idea was to keep them, I guess, from getting over here in this side and branching out all over the place so you can't mow between the rows. The next one down is going to be cucumbers. I made a big mistake on cucumbers. I put one of these wires between those two posts, and I planted the cucumbers too close together. They don't like to be crowded. So what's happening is that there will be some kind of a cable going between those two posts, and they will have goat wire or some kind of wire coming down 45-degree angle. I'll plant them on the outside or near the boards on both sides, and so when they start to grow, they have no choice but to climb that particular series of a 45-degree angle wire. And then if we go up there, that's going to be potatoes. I want to experiment a little bit on the potatoes. Potatoes don't really last very long in the bag in the house, so I'm not going to overdo it. Don't like to lose stuff if I can help it. But they want a lot of nourishment, more so than what everybody seems to think. So topsoil on them, manure on that, and then plant them deep, not that deep. Cover them with straw. Seems to be the right way to go here. And also add peat moss to it, because it is a root crop, and the roots need to be able to, the potatoes need to be able to grow. Same thing with these. This has a lot of peat moss and sand, so that the sweet potato can actually grow without being inhibited. And over here is, this one's ready to go with summer onions. The summer onion business did us real well last year. Everything grew. They were nice 2-inch to 3-inch onions, and I got them from ordering from Guernseys, because I was getting tired of buying the little tiny onions, and they didn't do anything except get maybe twice the size of what the actual onion that I bought was. Well, they minced up well. Now, if we could go up here, we'll show you what the next idea or experiment is. This was asparagus. One of the things that kills asparagus or inhibit its growth is grass, especially the grass with those nice long white roots that tend to just take over. So again, I can't get down to weed it, so we built this. This is a raised bed, and in here is the asparagus that we lifted from here. All of that was roots of asparagus, and you can see how many roots we actually got in order to just fill this. Very few actually made it. And I've planted asparagus a couple times over the past several years. They always got inhibited by grass. So, you know, kind of like the hell with that. So this is replanted asparagus covered with at least 4 inches of mulch. Hopefully it'll be held during the winter. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping that they'll take off. Now I realize asparagus grows, you know, 6 foot in the air, some of them. Oh, that's fine, but I don't worry about the fern as much as I need to keep it fed. This is a plant that loves food. So you've got to constantly be sure that you give it enough nutrients so that fern can grow well, so the fern can put down the necessary growth patterns and what have you in order to make the roots grow better and produce more. So this is all asparagus. We're going to see what happens. We'll come back sometime and take a picture of whatever it is, failure or success, one way or the other. Over there is a planting of garlic. Garlic, this is elephant garlic and short neck garlic and a long neck garlic. Long neck garlics tended to last for a long time. Short necks give up pretty quick if you put them in a bag and expect to keep them in the house. Elephant, that's something I've never planted before. I have no clue what's going to happen, except the cat standing all over them. But here they are coming up already. Now I've been assured by growers that don't worry about that. They'll make it through the winter. Green or died down, they'll come back. And this over here will be a beet. You'll notice it's covered. And this is strawberries, as it's obvious. And it's covered to keep the bees from, or not the bees, but the birds from getting into the crop, see? And if they get in there, I suppose that's the way it is, but it will be a deterrent. Over yonder, we're going to play with some cabbage types and see what happens there. Last year I planted cabbage. I planted them too close together. They like room. They did not make it. Also, we had an invasion of cabbage worms that you wouldn't believe. It was really a serious situation. Overnight it wiped out the foliage, and I think that pretty well took care of the cabbage before it even got a good start. But we're going to be covering that up with a net. The net will be fastened on to the side. The net allows water in, sunlight, so forth and so on. But those little butterflies that lay the eggs for the cabbage worm can't. And so we're going to keep the cabbage worms out and the sun and the water coming in. And that netting is, again, something you can get at Gurney's. It's a hoop like this, but it's a webbing. It's a net. So basically, that's where we're at. The greenhouse is... greenhouse currently has a fresh planting of Swiss chard, winter onions, kale, and I'm seeing what I can possibly get out of Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts were also attacked and inhibited in growth, so what you'd see in there right now is a failure as far as Brussels sprouts are concerned. I'm leaving it go because, you know, Brussels sprouts like cold weather. Let's see if they come out. They may not. It doesn't look promising. So anyway, this is more or less an experimental garden. However, we have spinach that I want to show you. Pardon the mess, but this is spinach. Now, this spinach has been harvested 3 times. And I got 2 quarts of spinach out of what you see here in the way of planting. Each time I harvest it. Spinach, of course, shrinks and boils down when you blanch it. Anyway, we harvest it, froze it, and we've had some of it already. This will go up until the temperature gets to be about 28 degrees. And at that point, then, it's all over for the spinach. But meanwhile, I will have gotten something on the order of maybe 8 quarts out of this one little patch. So I'm real proud of the way the spinach was. Now, what this is topsoil, Miracle-Gro, and chicken manure. A covering of chicken manure over the topsoil, a little bit of Miracle-Gro, according to the package, mixed in with microbes, worms, and the other combination of stuff that I see that works real well in these kinds of raised gardens and makes a good growth. Here is more, and there is more up-and-coming garlic. The garlic was an afterthought. I didn't have a place to plant it, so this bed was open. So, okay, let's see what happens. I'm going to put it in a greenhouse. You should never plant cabbage unless it's got sunshine, or not cabbage, but garlic, unless it's got some sunshine and it's got some growth opportunities. And this too has the same combination of nutrients added to it. Low level nitrogen, low level potash, very low level potassium. I don't want to poison these gardens because I intend to use them for a while. Of course, I'm not going to be around that much longer, but I don't want to have them go to bed while it's on my watch. So anyway, that's basically where I'm at with this garden. And as I say, we try different things. We fail in some things, and some things were successful. This works, and that's what I like. So that's about it for the tour.
Okay, thanks, Dad.
Okay, you're welcome.
I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you all got something out of it. My name's Chris. I'm the Rustic Caveman. I appreciate you all watching. Thank you.